Hi, welcome back. I'm John. This is the second Ask Sam Vodcast, and I'm very excited to introduce our group CEO, Rohit Bhuta, and explain and give you a bit of a sense of how we met and how long we've been working for, and what Rohit's contribution has been to the team. But before I do, I will introduce you to Rohit.
Thank you, John. You missed the word superstar.
Oh, I did. You're quite right.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Rohit Bhuta. Lovely to meet you all. I'm the group CEO of the Ask Sam group. Quick background, I was born in Fiji many moons ago. And then I moved to New Zealand when I was quite young, finished my high school, university, and then worked there for a few years. And as with all Kiwis and Aussies, I went to London for a couple of years. Did my backpacking and travelled. On the way back to Wellington, I stopped in Sydney and joined Macquarie Bank. So I'm from the banking world and financial services world.
The wealth side of things.
The wealth side of things, and now wealth to health, right?
Yes.
It's quite an interesting journey for me as well. I've lived in a number of countries with Macquarie. Started off in Malaysia, then moved to South Africa for 4 years. Moved back to Sydney, then did Hong Kong for 2, then 4 years in India. And then after that, Singapore for close to 11 years. And I moved back to Australia in 21. And that's when John, you and I met, right?
That's
Over
right.
a cup of coffee.
That's right. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me, actually,
same,
personally.
actually.
And the OMG group.
For me, it was almost as if my entire career, actually, the experiences from my career brought me to this moment. Working in India, working in South Africa, where you see the disparity of wealth. And the people who can afford to, they can get the best healthcare. And the people who can't, they suffer.
Struggle.
And one of these things that I've always said, I wish I could do something about the disparity. So all of those experiences led me to this moment. It was almost as if this was something that was written. So it's been fantastic the last 3 years. Steep learning curve, and I've been learning from the best, of course. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It brings me back actually to when we did have that coffee, and from memory, it was someone out of Europe that knows the both of us and made the introduction. So we thought we were having this coffee to say hi and to get to know what each other do. And by the end of it, I think we'd sort of decided that wouldn't it be great if we could actually do some stuff together with OMG. And at the time, had you thought about being in health?
Not at all. Actually, it was quite interesting. I do remember, we were at a coffee shop, and as you always do, you were writing on the napkin.
Oh, frantic, yeah.
And I actually might still have that napkin, and you were writing the entire strategy. And at the end of the coffee, and this is the first time we met, at the end of the coffee, I said to you, you've actually revealed a lot about the business to me, right?
Yeah.
And you said, now it's people that you meet and you know who you can trust, right?
And connect with, yeah.
And we established that connection day one, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, a strategy is great, ideas are great, it's all about execution. So if you could have left that meeting and executed that strategy, I might have been concerned. But I knew that you were better to come on board and execute that strategy with us. And
well, nothing that we have done has been by accident, right? The last 3 years, everything has been through a method of madness. There's been strategy, there's been a plan. And the way we're at the moment, including Ask Sam, for example, that's something that we thought of years ago, right?
That's right. And that's an interesting point, because someone had asked me last week about Ask Sam and, how long had you been planning this? Yeah. And when I said that it's been in the planning for 4 years, their eyes nearly popped out of their head. Yeah. But of course, we've always at the Ausmedican group level looked at the longevity. It's never been a sprint. It's always been a marathon for us. Yeah. So we knew that having that strategy in place would pay dividends further on down the track. And of course, now that it's addressing these problems, the big problems that are out there.
Unmet needs, right?
Yeah.
And it's always been a long game. And interestingly, every time we've sat down and talked, we've talked about what are the unmet needs out there in terms of patients, because at the end of the day, that's who we are here for, right?
Yeah.
To ensure that the right medications with the right science and efficacy is in the hands of the patients anytime and anywhere.
Yeah.
So ONG Pharma, which, as you know, is a biotech arm, and we've got a fantastic trusted brand that we've established over the last 7 years. Then the clinic, where we've got an integrative clinic which ensures that the patients actually get the right treatment and medications and consult and support. And then Ask Sam completes that picture.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So it's been a phenomenal ride so far.
And who would have thought that cup of coffee led to 3 years of you working 24 hours a day?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm still not tired of it, so...
No, you're not.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
your feet haven't touched the ground. And I have to say that it's been remarkable having you on board, not just from my personal perspective, but as someone that can guide the company and direct it to where it is today. And for that, I'm very thankful.
Well, yeah, and thank you for saying that, John. I really appreciate that. I think what's happened is the passion that you and I share is very common, and it's a great bond, right? Because we're both driving towards the same vision, effectively, and that's the maturity that we work with together has been phenomenal. And as a company, I'm pretty sure in 2 years' time we will actually be very different. We are going global. We're taking the company overseas, including RSM. And I'm looking forward to that exciting journey that we are on.
Well, I'm surprised that you are, because I thought that you might be just exhausted with the workload that you've already got on your shoulders. So that sounds great. And I hope you're not just saying that because I'm here.
No.
Because
I've
I'll
got
be
a lot more
looking
energy, lot more energy to go and a lot more years to actually devote to this, right?
Yeah.
And besides, we having fun doing it.
Yeah.
At the same time, while we're having fun, we're actually making a significant difference to the world. And John, what's been phenomenal is the strength of the company that we built today and continue to build. But we've done it rather quietly, haven't we? It's a long game that we played up until now. And if I step back and think about all the business subsidiaries that we've built and the interconnectivity that personifies those Medican Group, it's very exciting.
It is. And look, to think that it was only 3 years ago and what's actually been delivered and developed, albeit it's had a lot of nurturing from yourself and from your team. It might be quite useful just to give us an overview of the Medican Group and the ecosystem that's been created in there, and as to perhaps, we can talk about as to perhaps why.
Look, at the end of the day, I think we've always played the long game. We're not cutting any corners, and everything. There's been a strategy behind everything we've done. I love that we've actually got a preventative subsidiary, which provides hemp-infused health and wellness products, which is available over the counter. I love the fact that we've got hemp horse kombucha, which has got early stage evidence that it helps regulate blood sugar levels. Plus, it's got 40 billion probiotics.
For type 2 diabetes.
Diabetes. And that's something that I don't think that too many people know. But we've got consumers and patients who actually swear by it, right?
Well, the interesting thing is I was looking at some figures yesterday, and we've actually got over 300,000 products in the hands of patients. Since in the last couple of years. And of course, because we forget about the hemp Oz. And I should probably point out, from in terms of the legal structure of the group, just to give people a bit of an understanding. So we have the Oz Medican Group, and of course that's the group level. And that's where our IP, our trademarks and our assets lie. And then under that group, we have two key divisions, as you said. One is Hemp Oz, and that's about health prevention, where we have a number of products that sell across the country in health food shops, and that's nutraceuticals and so forth, all in that preventative space. The other division is OMG Pharma. Of course, that's our treatment space.
It's a biotech arm as well.
Yes, and that's where our medicines that you need your prescription for, and we have about 12 products that are...
14.
14 now.
Since
right.
yesterday, 14.
Right.
I mean, the interesting thing with OMG Pharma is that unlike most of our competitors, every product that's available under OMG Pharma are our formulations. It's our IP. We do not white label. And we stand behind every product that actually gets in the hands of patients. There's science, there's research, there's efficacy behind every product. And we work very closely, as you know, with the National Institute of Complementary Medicine and the Research Institute in New Zealand.
Yes, of course.
And a few other things that a lot of people would not know is that over the past 4 years, we've actually spent considerable capital in doing clinical trials. We've got 4 clinical trials at the moment. The most advanced is we've formulated an anxiety and sleep lozenge that's now reached a clinical trial stage. So we will start recruiting participants in May with a view to actually be ready to submit the approval process to the TGA by the end of this year.
Wow. I mean, look, it's quite mind-blowing rather. And it's massive. It's so big. I don't think that because we haven't shouted about it and talked about it, essentially this could be the world's first product in the CBD range that's available over the counter. So if we get the results that we expect to get, it will be something that's available in every single pharmacy across the world without a prescription. So that's very exciting. And the other trials as well around the actual sleep, insomnia and arthritis. But I just wanted to go back just a bit. So I was talking about the group level in terms of the structure. So the Ozmedican group, as I said, sits with our assets and our trademarks and so forth. That's where they fit. The HempOz division, as we said, that's all the nutraceutical hemp health prevention products, which are over the counter. We sell them all over Australia through health food shops and pharmacies. The other division is the OMG Pharma division, which is our treatment division. And that's where we have, as you said, 16 products that are available on prescription only in that sort of medical cannabis, natural health therapies space, require a prescription for those products. The other divisions which are critical for us to achieve what we need, which is to make sure that patients everywhere have access to our medicine anytime, anywhere. And of course, that's where Ask Sam comes in. But before I talk to Ask Sam, the other division which is key in being critical for us is the new clinic. Because what that allows us to do is actually directly engage with patients. It allows our clinicians to talk directly to our patients, and it allows that knowledge that is being delivered to the patients in terms of what that medicine might do from an interaction perspective. Because we all know now that cannabis can interact with other medication. So the last division is Ask Sam, and that's what wraps everything together because it provides the clinicians a bit more comfort. It allows them to do an easier job in terms of not worrying about notes and paperwork and so forth. And that's the group.
Yep. Well, and the other amazing thing is we've built a business not only for Australia. Yeah. Everything that we have done and every product that we've innovated and every product where we actually undergoing clinical trials, that's for the world.
Yes.
As you say, on the anxiety and sleep trial that we're doing, once we get the approval from the TGA, that opens up the pathway for market authorization globally.
Yes. And then that lies why we would work with DSM Firmenich.
That's right.
And that's another question that's came up, especially from our investors. Why are we investing in the most expensive CBD ingredient? And of course, me and you both know, people don't and aren't aware of what the difference between one CBD is versus another. Now, I'm not going to go through all of that today, but suffice to say there's a very big difference, and it does make a difference in terms of what the patient experience
is. It is a significant difference, as you say. And very quickly on that, without going into it in too much detail, DSM has formulated a CBD product that is an amorphous form, which effectively increases absorption levels and bypasses the liver by 6 times from all the traditional medications. Right? So we're quite excited about that. And and that's a DSM partnership. We also have a joint venture with Dilma.
Yes, in fact, I forgot to talk about Dilma, didn't I?
That's right.
Yes, we do. It's a global joint venture. Tell.
Yeah, it is a global joint venture. MJF Holdings, which is a holding company of Dilma Tea. Dilma is the third largest tea manufacturer in the world, located out of Sri Lanka. The joint venture is one of those where we bring Dilma's skill sets on tea growing, the Ayurvedic herbs and ashwagandha herbs, bringing it all together in a herbal functional beverage, and our skill sets on science-led CBD and hemp infusion into functional beverages. So that is something that's very exciting. Dilma has got a distribution footprint across 108 countries. And our products will actually, wherever allowed, will be distributed across these countries. So that's been very exciting.
We probably do need to say, though, that they're not the CBD or the THC teas. They're only available for prescription
In Australia. In other markets might actually where it's legal. Rules. The other thing that we should mention is our ESG philosophy.
Yes, that's been pretty key and quite the driver in terms of how we operate the business.
Yeah. And as you know, what we've done is 15% of the joint venture net profits, will be donated across to Dilma Charity Foundation, which supports underprivileged children, men and women coming from abused households. They actually look after a substantial number of citizens in Sri Lanka. The other thing we do is we partner with manufacturers or growers that have a social conscience. So they have a social responsibility that they do. We've got some partners in South Africa where we've ensured that they actually do follow the same ethical principles that we do.
Yes, and that's been quite the task to undertake, because when you're looking at a global landscape, you've got to do the due diligence. I know that we've had to do due diligence in other countries with various different stakeholders, and it's brought out quite a lot of information that's made us think twice. So I think that's probably quite a critical factor for us.
And one of the key strategic visions that we've got is to actually enter other markets. We're an Australian company through and through, an Australian company that's actually desirous of doing some huge, significant things across the world.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why we're looking to go into Japan, albeit it's not until 2026, the beginning, and also in the UK. So from an international expansion perspective, we have the plans within the next 6 to 12 months. So watch this space.
Watch this space, absolutely. And one thing I'd like to sort of finish this discussion off with is the method behind Ask Sam.
Yes.
And what brought RSM into the country and why, as a business, we've actually devoted so much time and effort into launching RSM. As you might remember, John, we sat down and we talked about what are the unmet needs of patients and clinicians within the healthcare environment in Australia. And we said, if you're a clinician, there's substantial burnout for clinicians. The amount of time they spend to remain compliant, to write notes, to be in a situation where going through the research to see if there's any drug-to-drug interactions, and also at the end of the day, still be in a situation where they've got energy to go and spend time with their families. What we did was we took that and we said, okay, what can we do to alleviate all of that? And RSM is a deep tech AI generative clinical co-pilot. And what it essentially, the way it's different from your ChatGPTs of this world is that ChatGPT is open source. When you ask it questions, ChatGPT will go across the internet and bring answers in. And whatever it's helped you with, whatever information you've put in, it's then available for other people to see. Ask Sam, as you know, is completely exclusive. It's exclusive between the clinician and the patient. So it's closed source. The information that it actually gets is only the information that Sam, the avatar, has been fed. And everything that's been fed has been medical-based, fact-based. On the patient side, the pain points and the unmet needs were being able to access a clinician anytime, anywhere. Being able to find out if the scripts are still available. Being able to identify where they can go and get a script. Or simply have someone to talk to. So Ask Sam overall is a clinical co-pilot which helps the clinicians save up to 2 hours a day of their time, which reduces admin workload by up to 90%. You still need a human touch behind it. You still need humans behind it. But it actually leads to the clinicians to go out and do what they do best, which is look after patients.
Yeah.
And from a patient's perspective, the patient now has got someone to talk to 24/7, and also be in a situation where they know how many scripts they've got left, or when their next appointment is, or simply ask a medical fact-based question and get a medical fact-based answer.
So no more Dr. Google then, because
Absolutely.
if you think about it as a comparison, you can ask Dr. Google and it might give you the right answer, or it might pull it from everywhere else. But as you said, we could all ask Dr. Google the same question, it would give us the same answer.
And maybe 5 different answers. Right?
Yeah, and whether it's if you're asking Ask Sam knows only the medical answer, so he can't make it up and interpret. And it's, as you said, it's closed, so it's actually private.
Yeah, and more importantly, and this is a question that we get asked on a regular basis, how safe is it, right? So with the platform, RSM AI, has actually got all the necessary global certifications in terms of privacy and safety that you would expect, plus more.
Yeah.
We have ethical hackers, as you know, who try and break the system on a regular basis, right? So far, they haven't been successful, and it's been great. We speak with the government. We've spoken to the medical bodies, and that's something that we take very seriously.
And look, I think that is a really good point, and it's important to clarify that whilst Sam is the world's first, and it's Australian, it's actually been up and running in a different format, doing different activities within hospitals and patient cares for over 5 years now, where there's millions of patients and clinicians actually using the tech. That in itself is something that we forget, because people often think, oh, this is brand new, how's it going to work, what does it mean for me? And look, in a nutshell, what it means for a patient is that they never need to worry about their medication again. They never need to worry about their appointments. They never need to worry about where the script is, because the script is always available on their app. So for the first time, it's putting everything in one central place. A bit like what Dr. Sarah explained, it's like having a banking app. So all of your information now is there. You don't need to be calling the bank to ask how much you've got in your account, because you can open it and you can see that straight away. And then for a clinician, it helps with burnout, as you said, because it reduces that tension and it allows the clinician to focus on the patient whilst ensuring that they don't need to worry about the admin that needs to be collected or the information, because Sam does that. That's his day job.
And all in a safe, secure, and exclusive environment.
Yeah.
I mean, just following on from that, the foundation of that technology that's been available in the US, and just to give you some comfort and give us some comfort, they've just partnered with the Washington State.
Yes.
And Washington State, on behalf of Washington citizens, are using this AI, and they're handing it over to the Washington citizens. Now, Washington State would have gone in and done a thorough
Yeah, much like the Australian.
Due diligence.
Yes.
So it provides everyone comfort that it is safe and secure and private and exclusive. The Ors Medicare Group has become a conglomerate over the years. The group level, which is Ors Medicare Group, this is where our IP and international patents lies. And then we've got 5 subsidiaries. The 2 medical subsidiaries. HempPause is all about prevention. It's health and wellness products. OMG Pharma is a biotech arm. This is where all our research and science and efficacy happens, and our innovation happens. Then to complete the picture, just recently, we started our own clinic, the new clinic, which is an integrative clinic. To wrap the entire ecosystem up, we've launched Ask Sam, which is our AI deep tech generative clinical co-pilot and patient co-pilot. We started off with 3 people 2 years ago, as you might remember, I'm sure. We're now at 29 very quickly. That's only happened in the last 7 months. By the end of this year, we're looking to actually have up to 100 or more staff within the business. And more importantly, as you know, we've got about 85 roles at the moment that we're looking to fill.
Yeah, clinicians and therapy.
Clinicians, therapists, salespeople
nurses
are there. So, across Australia, we're looking to hire salespeople. So we're growing very quickly. And so of the 4 subsidiaries that we have, all of them 100% owned by the group. The joint venture that we have with Dilma, that's a 50-50 joint venture. But we will look to grow in terms of numbers there as well. We are aspiring to be a global leader in biotech. We aspire to be in a situation where within 2 to 3 years, we will have approved cannabinoid products, and we will be only the 3rd company in the world to actually be doing that. The last company that did that was back in 2019, which is GW Pharma, who had registered a product called Epidiolex. We will be the 4th company with not 1, but 3 possible market authorizations. The sleep and anxiety tablet, the topical CBD salve for arthritis, and a suppository for endometriosis. Each of these address a large percent of the population that suffer from these conditions. Very quickly, sleep and anxiety, it's about up to 40% of adults worldwide. You need something like that. If I look at arthritis, 16% of Australian adults suffer from some form of arthritis. And if you look at endometriosis, which is a condition that not too many people talk about, but there's 2 in 10 women who suffer from endometriosis. So we're quite excited about the innovation, but more importantly, we're excited about the fact that we will address these unmet needs, but at the same time, we will actually register these products globally.
That's what's exciting about it. And I think that's why we've actually been in the lab, so to speak, for the last 6 years. A lot of people, albeit that we've grown very fast, but we've actually been doing this since the beginning, since 2017 when it all kicked off. Yep. So we've been in stealth mode, quite deliberate.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'd like to also talk about our tea.
Yes.
So we are the first company in Australia to launch THC and cannabis teas in a week ago, right? It's a day tea and a night tea, and that's designed and formulated to address pain, anxiety, and sleep.
And what sort of trials? I mean, when are we recruiting? Should we be announcing that soon so that we can gauge the interest of patients?
Exactly. Well, there are 3 trials, as you know, that we're going through at the moment. The largest right now is sleep and anxiety. In April of this year, we will be looking to recruit up to 500 patients.
Right
now.
So we've got 85 jobs, and they are for clinicians, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners. Yeah. In fact, the full spectrum of health, really, because we also have the overlap within OMG Pharma, where we're developing. So there's some science roles within there as well.
And just on that, the clinicians we're looking for are just broad-based, right? Whether they're dietitians or psychiatrists, psychologists, so we very broad-based, nurse practitioners and registered nurses. And the recruitment for the trial, for example, we're looking for 500 on the sleep and anxiety, but we're looking for 50 who suffer from arthritis. For our endometriosis, we're looking for 10 to start off with. And then within 3 months, we will extend that to 300.
So how do people how do people know about them? How do people know how to engage with our clinical trials? Who's running that?
So we work with the National Institute of Complementary Medicine, and then they work with a number of other associated and affiliated entities, including Westmead Hospital. But we also have partnerships with up to 100 pharmacies across Australia.
Yes.
Where we will actually use, which we will use to recruit patients. And also, all the clinicians out there in Australia, we would love for you to actually reach out to us. And if you have a patient that you think will benefit from these medications or simply be on the trial, we would love to hear from you, right?
Or if they want a new opportunity to work with us.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Look, I think the journey that we're on at the moment, we will end up this time next year with over 150 people within the OMG family. And we will continue to grow as we expand globally as well, right? So we at this inflection point. We've been very quiet up until now. But now we've got efficacy, we've got innovation, we've got the products, and we've got the right ecosystem to be able to go out and do what we do best and do what we've designed to do is actually give the medications to the people who need it most.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for that.